Hello, welcome to the Be Well Now Method podcast. Today I am here with Jen Shaver. Jen is a certified health and mental wellness expert and the host of the Fit News podcast. She is so passionate about empowering midlife women. Jen leads the Strong for Life program and the 28-day transformation. Her holistic approach to wellness focuses on fostering a positive habit formation through small daily changes, preparing the body for success with aging. Jen believes that while aging is inevitable, how you age is within your control. Her motto, if you want to remain independent as you age, you have to prepare your body. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to be frail. This encapsulates her philosophy. Jen's mission is to share sustainable wellness behaviors, transforming fitness from a routine into a vibrant pathway to a fulfilling life. Through Strong for Life and her podcast, Jen empowers women to age successfully on their terms. Jen, I am so excited to have you on the podcast and to chat with you. I really love and appreciate it. I'm drawn to your approach that is very positive and kind. And so I'm so excited to just hear more about you and how you
Yeah.
got here.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with you as well, Janet. I know you
Thank you.
came on and chatted with my audience on the Fit News podcast, and I
Yeah.
appreciated your time. And I know it was a great episode, and we had so much to chat about then. And so I feel like this is part two, right?
Yes, it is. It's great. There's so much. There's
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
We share so many similar mindsets. And I think, like you, it's probably just born from what you've heard from people about their struggles.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many women that I work with that just, say to me, I don't even recognize who I am anymore. And that's really heartbreaking to me to
Yeah.
hear. I read a statistic that said 75 or 70% of midlife women spend less than 5 hours a week on their own needs and hobbies. So
Wow.
yeah, and I think that's a really telling number.
It really is. And
Yeah.
I believe that it is real
Yeah.
because you see it.
Right.
Yeah, it's true,
Hmm.
especially as women.
Right. Right.
Wow. Yeah, so this makes what you're doing so important to make it a positive thing, make it more of something that's life-giving, like a hobby, rather than like this big should that's hanging over
Yes.
people's heads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
I love it.
Considering everybody knows that they should be exercising, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But then finding that time and the energy
Mhm.
is a whole nother story.
It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. Which is why I like to start the podcast with a little bit of a mindful movement meditation. So I
Hmm.
make sure that we're all starting in the well
Yeah.
state rather than this, like, all right, I know I should exercise, give me the secrets and kind of this
Yeah.
jumping into
What's the
action.
hack?
I find that right, it just it keeps it stressful.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I invite us to just kind of relax and get in a position that's comfortable and even close your eyes if you want to and take this little mini vacation. um, and just feel your breath. And you might just feel how it's coming and going without you having to do anything at all. To feel this way that your body is taking care of you right now in this moment without you having to do anything at all. And then bring that awareness into your center, knowing that only you know how to be well now. Notice what that means to you. What got you to log on today? What are you looking for and wanting more of? What's important to you about this? And then let that awareness extend to your whole body and let your body move in some way. Just that feels good. Just let your body move in a way that feels like a big thank you from your body. It might just be a small movement in your hands and your feet or a big, huge morning style stretch. Let your body decide. And then on an exhale, let your body come back to stillness, noticing how you feel. Whenever you're ready, let your eyes open. So I always like to start with I'm curious about what is bringing you joy right now? Like what is adding to your thriving?
It's funny. We just got a new puppy. So we have an
Oh,
11-year-old
fun.
old Vizsla, and we just got a tiny little toy fox terrier.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yes. So he is
I
bringing me
love
joy. He's a
that.
lot of work, right? Puppies are a lot of
Yes.
work.
Yes.
But
Yes.
his little
But so much
face,
joy in between that.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh
So
my
that's,
gosh.
yes, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, my
Instant joy.
my Vizsla always brings me joy. He always
Oh,
he comes to my meetings, so he's here with us.
I
Puppies
love
in
it.
his little area. So
You
yes.
know,
So aside from my children, yes, the
lovely.
puppy.
Congratulations
Thank
on a
you.
new family member. That's
Yeah.
very exciting. Great source of joy.
Yeah.
Well, my next question was like, what is challenging you right now? Um, and that could be, vocationally or anything
Mhm.
that's inviting you to practice what you preach, right? And
Yeah.
practice what you teach.
Yeah.
Anything at all?
Yeah, I would say and just because I am a health and wellness professional, I still have to figure out how am I going to take care of myself. And I do have days where
Yeah.
I have many meetings that are scheduled. And yeah, and like I just mentioned, now I have this puppy that's in the mix. And how do I
Right.
take care of this puppy? Make sure his needs are met, make sure my other dog's needs are met, make sure my family's needs are met, make sure,
Yeah.
along with making sure my own needs are met, And so yeah, maybe that means that my workout is a little different
Yeah. Mhm.
on this day, but then the next day, I can get a little more. And so I think it, no matter who you are, even though it's part of our quote unquote job, right?
Yeah.
As wellness professionals, we still have to
Yeah.
work at it. We still have to
Yeah.
work at making sure that we're doing, like you said, we're practicing what we preach.
Yeah. It doesn't just come easy because you
No.
know what to do and how to do it.
Yeah,
It's still the life demands, still, it's a balancing act. Yeah.
exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
great.
understanding that it doesn't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yes. That's a mindset. And we talked
Hmm.
about this.
Right.
Can you tell me more about that mindset and how you developed it, how you share it?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, and I think it goes back to, I think a lot of women, particularly midlife women, have this perception or idea that exercise has to be done at a gym,
Yeah.
has to be an hour class, has to be punishing. We have to be sweating. We have to be hurting. We have to, whatever it is. And all of those things create barriers to exercise, I believe.
Mhm.
Because let's break that down. If we go with exercise has to be at a gym. Okay, well, now I have to join a gym.
Right.
Now I have to drive to the gym. Now I have to, sit in traffic to get there.
Yeah.
So those are all things that become barriers to exercise. Okay, now I think it has to be a 1 hour thing. All right, well, it's taking longer than an hour because now I have to drive there and I have to take the class and then I have to drive back home.
Wow.
So now I'm thinking, geez, now I've got hour and a half at least, right? I just don't have time for that. So now we're
Yeah.
really adding to these barriers. When,
Yes.
and okay, next barrier, it has to be painful, right? No pain, no gain is the
Mhm.
motto. Oh, again, I go back to, what you and I talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Most people know that they are supposed to exercise, right? Okay, if I'm
Yes.
thinking in my brain, no pain, no gain, that not, you're not going to want to do that,
Yeah.
right? You're going
Yeah.
to come up
Yeah.
with a million other things that you would rather do that you're going to talk
Right.
yourself into doing rather than the exercise.
Yes. And the kicker is there's no science behind the no pain, no gain, just for
Exactly.
athletes. So, like a lot of
Exactly.
these have tos are
Right.
really based on tradition
Uh-huh.
and athletic mindsets and not really meant to be for health and well being.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so this idea that exercise has to be painful, okay, it's another barrier.
Yeah.
We have to be, we have to be sweaty and sore and all this other stuff. But we don't have to. That's not the measure of a good
Yeah.
workout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So these,
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's just, it's all of these things that create these barriers
Yeah.
and kind of help us to talk ourselves out of not doing the exercise instead of
Yeah.
finding ways that we can make movement and allow it to bring joy and allow it to improve our quality of life, which is really
Yeah.
the goal of the movement. It's to improve the
Right.
quality of life as we age.
Yeah. Yeah. So that what you just described, that awareness of the have tos, right? Just
Yes.
even taking a moment to brainstorm all the have tos that we have about exercise, all the shoulds,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to do this with people, write it all down and then tear it up, throw it
Yeah.
in the garbage, and then, so
Yeah.
that's really the B step, like just being aware of where am I at now? What's going well? What's not going well? What are these have tos that might be getting in the way? What are
Yes.
these stories that I'm telling myself? And then the well step is what matters now. Like, why does it matter to
Right.
even talk about this, to look at it? And we know we should exercise.
Right.
Um, I'm wondering, I want to bring it back to you again. And like,
Uh-huh.
what makes it important to you? Like, what's your story? How did you get into this?
I
What
have,
makes you so passionate?
well, I have always enjoyed fitness. It's always been a part of my life. I'm a former endurance athlete. I was a
Mm,
triathlete, a marathoner, a half marathoner, all that jazz. And I always had, I was always injured because I was
mm,
always missing one step, right? And that was the
yeah.
strength training.
Yeah. It's
um,
huge.
it is huge. And, because we get so into whatever activity we're doing and we enjoy it. And then I
Mm,
would always end up in physical therapy, and then I'd feel great, right? Because what are we doing in physical therapy? We're strengthening our weaknesses, right?
right.
Well, if
Right.
you don't maintain that strength and those weaknesses, guess
Yeah.
what comes
Yeah.
back? Those weaknesses. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it took me a little bit. It took me about 12 years to figure that out. Lots of injuries. Yeah. But then you get to a point where you just say, I'm tired of being constantly injured. What's the pattern? What's going on? And that's when I just really dove into really focusing more on my strength training and being more consistent, not perfect with it, more consistent. And since I have done that, I have seen great rewards. I'm 49, and I did a DEXA scan because my doctor just said, hey, let's go do a DEXA scan just so we have like a
Awesome.
baseline.
Yeah.
Well, much to her surprise and mine as well, I have osteoporosis. Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. We
How
were
eye-opening.
it really.
Oh my goodness.
So people might say,
Yeah.
well, what, you strength train. And
Yeah.
I've been very consistent the last 5 years with strength
Yeah.
training. I jump rope twice a week.
Yeah.
I wear a weighted vest. I do all of the
Right.
quote unquote things, right?
Yeah.
Um, which makes me understand that, if I
Mm.
hadn't been doing those things, how much
Right.
worse it could be.
So true. That's a nice way to look at it
And that's
rather than, oh my
exactly,
gosh, what am I
yes,
doing wrong? What am I
right,
doing right?
right,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
I
I
know
love
that
that.
for me, I am going to continue to be consistent,
Hmm.
really dial it in even more.
Yeah.
Again, not looking to overdo because
Mm.
you can have too much of a good thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just about, continuing to make sure that I am lifting heavy and
Yeah.
doing the things that my body needs in order to maintain my bones and my muscles as I
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this demonstrates so well your mindset about this, that it is positive, and seeing this medical test as just information. It's just more information that's going to guide what you're doing. You
Right.
already have the habits. You're already
Yeah.
doing it. How do I tweak it so that it's
Exactly.
more fitting for what my body needs right now?
Hmm.
And that mindset is very different than the way we make it stressful of,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have osteoporosis. This is
Yeah.
awful. I'm going to age. And we can go down that road,
Yeah.
and then end up paralyzed and not doing anything. And so I like
Right.
how your positive approach is more action focused, but intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. The other thing is it could be, you could, like I said, you could look at it and be like, well, you were doing all the things see, it doesn't really
Right.
do anything. Well,
Yeah.
yes, because it could be so much worse, right? And that's
Right.
the part that
Yes.
I'm just like, oh wow, this could be so much worse.
Right. Right. It's so true.
So
It's so
thank
true. Like
goodness I
these
was
things
doing
do
this.
work.
But it's
Yeah.
also, we have to think about, what do we want the next 5 years, the next 10
Mhm.
years, and the next 20
Yeah.
years to look like?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
for me, it's maintaining my independence as I
Yeah.
age. And
Right.
it's being able to do the things that I enjoy. I
Mm.
enjoy travel. So I want to continue to be active when I go to places. I
Mm.
want to continue to walk around. I want to be able to lift my own suitcase.
Yeah.
It's those types of things. I want to someday be able to play with my grandkids, get up and off the floor,
Yeah.
all of those things. And we really need to, you know, while living in the moment is important, right? We also
Mhm.
need to
Right.
think about, wait a minute, my body, what is it going to look like? What is it going to feel
Mm.
like
Right.
5, 10, 15 years down the road? We're
Yeah.
aging. Of course, we're going to be slower, right? I'm not going to run the
Right.
same pace now as
Yeah.
in 15 years.
Yeah.
That's not realistic. I don't expect to.
Right.
But if that is something I enjoy, I need to maintain my muscles and my bones.
Yeah.
If that's
That
not your thing, if gardening is your thing,
mm. Yeah.
you want to be able to lift your bags of mulch, you want to be able to get up and off the
Right.
ground.
Really. Keeping
Gardening
that
is
why.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
very
Yeah.
physical. And,
Yeah.
uh, you know, any of those things.
Yeah. Keeping that why updated, like the way you just
Yes.
described that, right? Like it used to be an athlete and that
Hmm.
was the why, but
Right.
now, and especially now adding this diagnosis, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, wait, now my why is even more important because I
Right.
still want to do those things. How do I do that safely and effectively?
Yeah,
And this is really rooted in a very strong why for living well and quality of life, not
precisely.
speed of running, but
Yeah.
quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's something that people really need to kind of hone in on, because so
Yeah.
often, I'll talk to women, why do you want to lose, what do you want? And their first answer is, of course, I want to lose weight.
Mm.
Okay, well, why? Well, because I want
Yeah.
to wear this pair of jeans. And that's okay. But let's
Yeah.
really dive into that. Let's really
Yeah.
think about that, because is that a strong enough why that's going
Mm.
to really, really, when life shows up like it's going
Yep.
to, is fitting into those jeans a strong enough why to
Yeah.
keep you on that path moving forward towards that goal? And
Yeah.
most of the time, the aesthetic goal, while it's there and I get it and it's fine to have that, if
Mhm.
you really are honest with yourself, and that's where I really try to get
Yeah.
women to really, really examine. And like you said,
Yeah.
let's really think about that deep why and know that it's okay for it to change and to
Mhm.
evolve throughout the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
That's fine, but keep
Yeah.
checking in with it.
Mhm. And what you're describing is what you don't get by going to a gym, just
Yeah.
signing up for a gym membership. People think, oh, I'll be motivated if I pay for the gym, but we
Hmm.
know that doesn't work. And
Right.
someone to tell me what to do. But really, we need a program like yours and mine who really gets you to think about these things and the why.
Right.
And going to the gym and just checking the box really does not provide that sustainable motivation. It's having these questions asked of
Yeah.
you so you think about them
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Yeah.
clarify them. Yeah.
Exactly. We really need to make sure that we are being intentional
Yeah.
and not just
Right.
using I'm going to call it movement and not exercise,
Hmm.
our movement intentionally,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
just something. And that's what I always try to tell my ladies, when you start your workout, I want you to be intentional as you're moving
Mm.
through that workout. Don't just, when you're doing bicep curls, move your arms super fast so you can say, oh, I got my bicep curls done.
Right.
Because
Yes.
all you did was check off the box, but you didn't get the
Yeah.
most out of the
Right.
exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly why I created the Be Well Now method, to slow us down
Right.
and to say, let's take these steps, be
Right.
present, be intentional. And
Yeah.
what I find is interesting is that the definition of exercise is intentional movement, moving for a certain intention rather than
Yeah.
just kind of moving without intention.
Hmm.
It's lost that definition.
Yeah.
And the intention could be to run faster or to win competitions. But for most people, it's
Right.
the intention is I want to age well. I want to travel. I want to just all the things that you described.
Right.
And that intentional movement, like you said, we have to be so intentional about how we're moving, why we're moving
Hmm.
for
Right.
it to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if we're
Yeah.
not, then we're just hoping that we're going to age well,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and it
Right.
doesn't just happen, just like your
Yeah.
retirement account. If you are not
Yeah.
intentionally putting some money from your current
Yeah.
paycheck into that
Yeah.
account, then there's nothing there. Well, if you are not being intentional with your exercise as you're aging, your
Yeah.
muscles are not going to be there for you 10, 15 years down the road, because we know the
Yeah.
amount of muscle, that we start to lose starting in our
Mm.
30s. So
Yeah.
this isn't
Yeah.
something where we can say, oh, I got time,
Mm.
you know, when
Yeah.
no, your time was a few years ago, but it doesn't mean that you're too late.
Yeah.
There's as long as
Exactly.
you are 6 feet above ground, you're not 6 feet under, you are above ground, you still have
Yeah.
time. So let's
Right.
use it wisely.
I
And,
love that. I love the analogy of the retirement account. That's such a good, because we all know that's so important. It's going to provide a future.
right.
And the same thing with doing good quality strength exercises. It
Yeah.
is your investment in your future. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. The thing
Yeah.
is that so many people have such a hard time connecting the dots
Yeah.
between now and then. And
Yeah.
there's always this, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll
Yeah.
start next Monday, I'll start at the first of the year, I'll start,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
1 year turns into 2, 3, 4, and before you know it, now you're
Right.
55 and you haven't started yet, or you're 65 and you haven't started yet. Doesn't mean you can't start now, but I
Mhm.
really want women, especially once they hit 40, even
Yeah.
before if possible, but
Yeah.
to really take a look and examine and say, wait a minute, what am I doing to prepare my body to do
Yeah.
the things that I enjoy and to just do daily living tasks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Think of how many times you get
Right.
up and off your chair. And right now
Yeah.
you probably don't even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because I think people are always amazed. And they're like, I feel so much better. One, it feels good to be doing something that's been hanging over your head. But then
Right.
if you're doing it well,
Hmm.
you just feel better throughout the day. So you get that instant gratification and
Right.
the satisfaction of knowing that you are investing in your future too.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So Jen, what are like three, so I'll move into the now step
Yeah.
now. What are the action steps that you tell, the key points that you want people to know,
Hmm.
um, that are most important?
Number one, if you are currently not exercising, find something you enjoy.
Mm.
Start there.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
for 1 10-minute walk.
Mm.
That's it. 1 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
If you are not doing anything, go for 1 10-minute walk. If you
Yes.
are exercising, let's say, so many women love to walk. I love to walk. I walk my
Yeah.
dogs 3 to 5 miles a day. Um, you know, but that's not enough. That walking alone is great. It is good for your mental health, and it is good for your cardiovascular health. However, it does not help with building muscle.
Yeah.
So we have to add that strength training in. If you're not currently strength training, start with body weight exercises. Start with
Mm.
squats while you're
Mm.
waiting on your curing, right?
Mm.
Or, um, you know, push-ups on your counter while you're waiting for I don't know, your soup in the microwave.
Yeah.
You're standing at your
Right.
microwave for 1 to 2 minutes, I bet at least one
Yeah.
time a day. Use that
Yeah.
time to do some squats or do some counter
Yeah.
push-ups.
Yeah.
Just starting there and knowing
Yeah.
that, research has shown that 2 days a week of full body strength training
Yeah.
is what's needed to maintain, right?
Yeah.
We're not looking to get
It's
up
not
on a
much.
stage. We're not looking to be
Right.
on cover of a magazine. That has been shown to be enough
Yeah.
to maintain the muscle you need to age successfully, to age independently.
Yeah. It's not much.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so do something
Right.
you enjoy, add
Yes.
in strength training because it's
Mhm.
really important. And it's that missing piece that makes the
Right.
difference in aging well,
Yeah.
and start small so that it's really doable. So you'll do it consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's really
Awesome.
just it, just because once you start doing something and you can do it consistently, then it just becomes a part of your
Yeah.
daily routine. And that's what we're
Yes.
looking for, because now it's not really a quote unquote choice, right? Because it's just already part of your day. So
Yeah.
there's no longer a
Yes.
decision to be made. This is part of my
Right.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully a nice part of the day
Right.
that just makes you feel and function better and
Right.
lets you take care of a puppy without any issues.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Jen, thank you. This was so
Of
great. And
course.
I just love your attitude and your approach and your just easy way of talking about this and making it easy for
Yeah.
people and focusing on aging well.
Yeah.
How can people find you, your
I am.
podcast, your website, all that?
Yeah. So the Fit News podcast is available on all platforms, wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am on LinkedIn under Jennifer Shaver. I am on Instagram under Fit with Shaver. And you can look up workwithjenshaver.com for some freebies.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank you. And I'll put
of
all that
course.
in the show notes too. So you have the links there.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jen. I
Thank
really,
you,
really
Janet.
appreciate you
Yeah,
being here and taking the time and sharing your wisdom.
of course. Always great to chat with you, Janet. We have so much to chat
Yes, you
about.
too.
It could probably go
You
on for
too. We'll
hours.
do it. Right. I know. We can do a follow up and we'll just take turns on our podcast.
Right.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be well now.